Hey, what's up? So I was just chatting to a client, it's a relatively new client, and we had done a huge amount of work in building the foundation. So we had their strategy for their online business really, really nailed down. But they were still struggling at seeing how everything kind of fit together. And in trying to explain it, I actually went back to this old school direct marketing model. And it was just hugely beneficial. And I think if you're an online business owner, if you have a course creator, if you have membership sites or you virtual events and you're looking to attract perfect fit clients at scale, well then this video is for you. And really, one of the things that when you get this, when you truly understand how these three fundamentals of online business and growth sit together, I think it makes life an awful lot easier. I think it makes kind of your decision making process an awful lot simpler, more straightforward, and easier to run. But what I've seen at times is that when people don't see or understand how these three components overlap, intermingle, intertwine, and sometimes they can get a little bit lost, and they can they can try to implement a whole lot of tactics and strategies, they can try to implement a whole lot of tactics, but not really get very far. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you today. So the model that I brought them through consists of three fundamentals. And those fundamentals, and I'm going to list them slightly in order, but they don't always sit in this order. So, one might work without another one, but if the really sweet point is when you get the three of these working together. And if I was to draw this, if you imagine three overlapping diagrams, or a Venn diagram where the three circles overlap, and really when you hit the sweet spot with this is where you see, the online businesses, the courses, the memberships that just take off, versus others that struggle to do so. So the first element that we're going to look at is the offer. What are all three of them before I get into the specifics? These three elements are offer, copy, and list. Now, back in the old days, really, if you had that, how you built your business was you looked at these three elements and you tried to optimize it. And even though things have moved on a lot, it's still true today. So let's look at the first one, offer. So first of all, your offer. And this is probably the one part that I feel most online business owners do not spend enough time and effort on. They spend a huge amount of time on the copy, they spend a huge amount of time, in building their list, but they don't think about what their offer is. And they don't really nail down. And for me, it is the most important element of your business. You must have a hugely, hugely compelling offer. Like your offer should make people want to jump into action. And that action is to sign up for your course, your membership, your virtual event. And one of the big things, and Todd Brown talks about this a lot in his E5 method, but your offer, it has to have a unique mechanism. So, more information is not going to solve anybody's problem. And everybody knows that. But if you can show that you have a unique mechanism that gets them a solution, that gets somebody an outcome, and that's what they're going to jump at. And because there's so much information, there's so many people, there's so much data out there, and people are inundated and they want to feel like you have something unique. Now, another one of my clients is she's a psychologist, a psychotherapist, and what she excels at is taking other people's research. So as she always says, she doesn't have the millions of funding to go away and to do the experiments, to extract all the data and to find it. So what she does is she goes away and she finds people who have done the research, who've come up with the models, and then what she does is she takes their models and trains it to her people. Now, the fact is, that might not seem like there was any unique mechanism in there, but that's where her genius zone is. It's in taking other people's data and their findings from the studies that they have done, filtering it through her knowledge, her experience, and then what she does is she takes it and she relays that in a very relatable and understandable way that people can put into action. And that very much is, kind of a unique mechanism, because let's face it, there's very little in the way of unique knowledge out there anymore. So everything is growing and evolving, but truly unique stuff. But what you need to do is you need to find the unique angle that you bring to your field. And the second thing your offer has to have is it has to have a defined outcome that your potential perfect fit client really wants. And I think this is another area where people fall down a lot. Like, you cannot generate interest for a specific solution. And this is where, businesses in the old days, they used to go away and they used to come up and they used to develop a product. And then what they used to do is they used to figure out, okay, here's a product. Now how are we going to go market this to our audience? But that's not the way anymore. And what you need to do is you need to build the offer. You need to build your product. You need to build your offer to tap into the desires that people already have, right? And we can look at the difference between branding and advertising and sales and direct marketing. But realistically, you don't have the budget in order to do the large-scale branding that will, get people to really, really want what you have. What you need to do is you need to figure out what they want, and then you need to tie their wants and their desires and, in some ways, their pain to the solution that you have. And this really is the concept of, Pain Island and Pleasure Island. So if you imagine your perfect fit, potential fit client is sitting out there in their life, and in some area, they're in pain. They're in pain because they don't have what they want, or they have things that they don't want, and they want to be different. They want a different outcome for their life. Your job with your offer is, first of all, to show them Pleasure Island. So that is somewhere else where in their life, or in this area of their life, they have their kind of desires met, they are happy, they are living their life in a way that they feel fulfilled. And what your job of your offer is to show them the bridge from Pain Island to Pleasure Island. Now, if you paint that picture in a compelling enough way, well, people will jump with it. And really what this is all about is you need to get them the results that they want. And that's why offer, and there's two elements to the offer, because we're going to go on and talk about copy now. Obviously, there's one element which is the offer itself. So this is the unique mechanism. This is coming up with your big marketing idea. This is solving the problem that they have, and really having that mechanism to solve the problem that they have. The second part then, which we'll go on and we look at now, is the copy, because that's the copy is going to paint that picture for them. And really, so this is part two, is your job is to read a page from your perfect fit prospect's diary to them. So basically, what your job with the copy is to be continuously in touch with the challenges that people face, what they're going through on a day-to-day basis. It's to get inside their head, to really understand the language that they use, and to enter the conversation that is going on inside their head. And when you can have that level of understanding about your perfect fit prospect, and when you can write, as I say, if you can draft and if you can read to them a day in their diary in a way that verbalizes their innermost dreams and ambitions that they haven't even verbalized for themselves yet, that is the job of your copy. Now, when I say I think offer is probably the most important thing when it comes to building your online business, because you have to have that compelling offer. Without a compelling offer, you're going to struggle. But then when it comes to copy, you need to then verbalize that offer to people in such a way that it just makes it a no-brainer for them. And in such a way that they feel connected to you. They feel that you really understand them. You understand the challenges they face. You understand their dreams, their goals, their ambition. In many ways, your job is to see a better future for your perfect fit clients than they can even imagine for themselves. And if you can do that through your copy, you are going to build an army, of raving perfect fit clients. So number one is you need to have your offer. Number two, you need to have copy that really connects with your community, connects with your audience, connects with your perfect fit prospects, and lets them know that you understand them. And then the third element, which is absolutely essential for building a long-term, sustainable, kind of profitable online business, is your list. Now, your list is hugely, hugely important. And there's a couple of things that can go wrong with your list. So you can have a list, but that list is not engaged. And that means that either you're not, kind of communicating with them on a regular basis, or you're not communicating the right thing with them on a regular basis. You can have a list that is, maybe that is engaged, but when you put an offer in front of them, they won't buy. So that could be a list where they're not actually your perfect fit prospects. So they could be there, you could have gathered them, but they do not want to take the action to bring themselves to the next level of, to the next level in your ascension model. But when it comes to lists, the most important thing is that you are strategic with your business development. And what I mean by strategic with your business development is that you always have a next step for your perfect fit client. So that you bring people into your world on a level. And normally we're going to bring people in on the lowest possible level. So one of the processes that I bring people through is how to create content and how to create, kind of stepping stones to go from low value, low commitment, low risk products or services, or kind of membership information products, virtual events, and then have this stepping stone up along to a signature program, a front-end membership, a back-end membership, up into a mastermind, up into a high-level mastermind. So that we map out in a kind of business all the steps that somebody could take from meeting you from a very part, whether it's a video, whether it's a lead magnet, whether it's a blog post, whatever it is, to take them on a journey from that first contact up through your kind of value ascension model. But you also want to have an ultimate destination for the majority of your perfect fit clients. And what I mean by ultimate destination is, well, where do you want all roads to lead to? So this could be your signature program. This could be a signature membership. Wherever it is, you can figure out, okay, well, this is where I want the majority of my people to reside. Yes, some people are going to move on to upper levels and move, but you want to have what's the majority of, where are the majority of my people going to get the greatest value from interacting with me? Now, normally when we sit down and we analyze this, that, whether it's membership or whether it's their signature program, is going to pretty much have 4 to 7 key areas. If you were going to invest time, effort, and money in building your list, you have to be strategic about it. You have to think about, well, if I'm building a list, who am I building the list for? What are their next steps? Where are they going? Where am I going? Once I have them on my list, what is their next steps? And you have to have this through line from your very front-end content all the way through lead magnets, programs, courses, virtual events, membership, all the way to that one major ultimate destination that you have for your perfect fit client. Now, when we sit down, when we look at programs, courses, memberships, normally we're going to come up with about 4 to 7 key areas. That's 4 to 7 content areas in your business. So the process that I bring people through is identifying those areas and helping them create content based on that. So one of the processes that we can go through is, okay, well, if we have, let's say 6, because 6 works out fairly well, or 4 for a month. If you pick 4 topic areas, or kind of 6, because we can run them in cycles and bring it out into quarters, into 90-day or 12-week quarters. But if we take each one of the topics, then what you can do is, on a week-by-week basis, touch on one of the topic areas. And if you plan your content out in advance, this really helps you come up with great content areas over a longer period of time. And so what you're going to have is, you're going to have maybe, a kind of, for each one of the areas, you're going to have a pillar post. So a pillar post is maybe you're defining thought process on that key area. Now remember, what we do in our front end content is not tell people exactly how to do things, but to talk about the strategies, talk about the approach, talk about the outcome, talk about how you help people in this area, and to deliver them the overall strategies that they can need to adopt. When it comes to your how will filter into your program, your courses, that's your paid content. So a very good friend of mine, he always likes to say that he inspires for free and teaches for a fee. And I think it's a good way of looking at it. But basically you're going to have your pillar post. Your pillar post is going to have an associated lead magnet. And then from that lead magnet, then that will lead in directly into maybe a low-end program, or it could be your signature program. But in this way, you have everything is aligned, and there's a true line going from, kind of your weekly content, which then can lead to a pillar post, your pillar post, which leads to a lead magnet, your lead magnet, which leads to maybe a self-liquidating front-end offer. And then people get in, and then they go through your promotion, maybe a launch for a signature program, a launch for... And if we have identified the 4 to 6 key areas properly in our program, and now if we are talking about, we're talking about those topics, and we are going to ensure that the people who join our list are the right people to move forward, because we are foreshadowing for them what is coming down along the line. And I think when we're highly, highly strategic in creating content, that's when we get a list. But, kind of a list that is, what will I say, launch ready, a list that is properly optimized and ready to buy what offers you are putting in front of them. And so then let's look at how the three overlap. Now, the funny thing is that if you have a really, really strong offer, you know what? You can get away with weak copy, and you can get away with a weak list. Because if you have a really, really good offer, you're going to have no problems in finding, JV partners or people to promote with you, and you can overcome it. Basically what I'm saying is a strong offer will overcome everything. If you have really good copy, but a weak offer, well, you'll do okay, but you're not going to really ignite and set things on fire. Now, funny thing is, if you have a really, really hot list, if you've really engaged people who are into you, people who know that, you understand them, well, you can just have an okay offer, and your copy doesn't need to be strong, and you will be successful. But where the real power comes in is having a really hot, engaged, and really responsive list. You have a really strong offer, and you have really strong copy. And when you hit that, the blessed trinity of online business, that's when your business is going to explode. So what I would say is, think about your business, think about where you are, think about, how the 3 elements of your business are stack up, or how these 3 elements stack up in your business. And what I would suggest is, well, how do I go about optimizing each one at a time? And I definitely do I always start with offer. Now, the funny thing about copy is copy permeates through the offer and through the list, because you need to have engaging copy in order to engage with the list, and you need to do it. So all 3 are important, but I really always would focus on what is the offer. Focus all your effort and attention first on making sure that is. And from working with people, especially people who are new to the launch world, 9 times out of 10, if your launch doesn't work out, or if you're even struggling to get people onto your list, and then you're struggling to make your launches work, normally it's your offer is the problem. But it's the one area where, I just think people don't spend enough time, effort, and attention on developing. They will spend weeks and weeks and weeks on their copy, on writing, scripts for their video, on writing email campaigns, on writing everything. But really, if your offers is not up to scratch, all that copy is going to be wasted. So spend as much time on your offer development as you do on your copy. So look, wherever you're looking at this today, please like and share this video. Make sure to subscribe and like the channel here for lots more content just like this. Oh, even more importantly, please do scroll down and leave me a comment. Look, I promise to reply to each and every one personally, and I would love to hear how these 3 areas are working in your business. So from me, thank you, and I'll see you real soon.